These days, as usual, I guess it's not really these days, Same Old G is putting out some fantastic clips. And right now, he's focusing on collaborative, what I call collaborative design and collaborative description, and the degree to which each player, including the GM, should take responsibility, use their agency for making sure things happen smoothly without wasted time and effort in a game. He's covered a lot of the important details already in his clips, as he usually does. He's a very thorough fellow. But there's one aspect which I've touched on before, but not really in this context, so I thought it might be time to revisit it as kind of a video response about the spectrum of the experience of the game world once you open it up to something beyond the game master being responsible for all details except player decisions. So once you've moved past that and start heading toward more collaborative or interactive description, you can discover yourself on a spectrum ranging from a reactive world where everything the player does matters and sparks some kind of reaction, for good or ill, or a non-reactive world where nothing they do matters, such as the railroaded, pre-written module with boxed text where the players just show up to supply a little bit of dialogue and a yes-no decision. Right? You find yourself on that spectrum, and you find yourself on a spectrum between an empty world and a full world. The empty world being one in which only the players really exist because everything is mutable except them. And they are narrating details and events and plots and tangents, and nothing exists outside of that. Or a very full world where there's lots of things going on that the players can discover, and maybe there's so much going on there's no room for them to tailor the experience or to affect or influence the way things are going as people do in the real world. So somewhere between these 4 points lies a really interactive game state where the sweet spot for your group, where everyone can contribute in all 4 axes. So these 4 extremes, despite being described as extremes, are really quite common areas to wind up in. It's like everything gets dialed up to full volume in whichever direction you're traveling, full or empty, reactive or non-reactive, when it's really that interactive state somewhere in between them, in a place that balances all the levels nicely for your group that we're trying to reach. But it takes practice to get there. Sliding toward the reactive end of the scale, the reactive world, is a pretty easy trip to make. Whatever the players try to do, there should be something exciting. They should be in the spotlight. Things should happen. And so things happen to them because they acted. And it's almost in a way like punishing them for action. On the other end of the scale, the non-reactive scale, well, no matter what they do or what they decide, things happen the way they were going to anyway. Similarly, winding up in an empty world is very easy. We become so focused on the characters that everything else becomes one-dimensional. There's a bartender. None of the players know the bartender's name or really anything about them other than they serve up drinks and rumors. We have your contact, who's never been named and is basically just a bonus to die rolls, that kind of thing. The empty world where really only the players are moving in it. And then the full world where there's so much stuff going on that the only person in the room who's ever really talking is the game master. So hopefully this short, revisit of this concept of full world, empty world, reactive world, non-reactive world, and the interactive space in between them. I hope this has offered something to the discussion, and that we can progress even further from this point.